My wife's 9-month affair started June of 2019 and ended March of 2020. We've been married about 7 years when it started. I am 42 and she is 40. In May of 2019 we packed our family up and moved to a new state. She started a new job and within a month her and a coworker started sleeping together. I continued my work remotely and was able to tend to our 6-year-old daughter. In March of 2020 she said we had to talk and proceeded to tell me that she had been out one night with some people at work and drank a bit too much and kissed her AP who I've met a few times. We talked and talked. I was pretty pissed off. I asked if she had slept with him. She told me no. I thought it was a one-time mistake and we moved on. She also swore that they don't even talk anymore. Then November of 2020 comes around. The doorbell rings. I go to check who it is. Sure enough it's her AP and his wife. Once I opened the door I knew what was coming. He went on to tell me everything, how many times they slept together, when and where. Everything. It felt like he was going on for hours, when in reality it was only about 20 minutes before I told him he needed to leave. At this point my chest hurt, I was shaking, it was awful. Before he left he gave me a large envelope. I took it and dropped it, stared at my phone on what I was going to write my wife. Eventually I wrote her that we need to talk when she got home. She asked if everything was alright, answered no, I just got a visit from AP. She broke free from work and called me and I was yelling she was crying. I honestly can't remember what I was even saying. She never once tried to deny it. Eventually I hung the phone up, tried to calm down enough to grab our daughter from school. We got home from school, I opened the envelope and it was filled with dates and places they had been together. Her AP was pleading for my forgiveness for what they had done. He told me he needed my forgiveness so he could strengthen his faith with God. He included their internal office messaging systems, logs of their conversations. They had conversations about how great they would have been together if only they weren't married, recalling places they had slept together. Reading all of it really made me feel like I was just run over by a bus. There were even screenshots of his wife and mine arguing about what the two of them had done. So my wife comes home, and she can barely look at me. Had our daughter not been home, there would have been quite a bit of screaming. She tried to explain herself, it didn't matter. She tried to downplay their relationship, so I showed her the printouts. The more I showed her, the less she could even say. Her only explanation that I could agree with was that we weren't communicating with each other anymore. There was a conversation she had with the AP about how she wanted to tell me everything, but she needed to find the right time. She said her AP was the only person she could talk with, and it quickly turned into a physical affair. 3 days later, I got myself to a doctor for some medication. I've already suffered from depression for years now, this was not helping. 2 days after that, I went to get an STD panel run. When I asked her if they used condoms, she said she couldn't remember. I took that as a no. The STD panel came back clean. Eventually I made my decision that I was going to stay and we would try and work on it. We've been doing counseling for the last few months, and it is helping. Her and I are definitely doing better as a couple. She is going above and beyond to make sure we both get better. I have complete access to all of the devices we own. I've even checked her car to see if there are any hidden phones. There are none. Needless to say, it's been a hard couple of months. Our time in the bedroom has increased, our communication has taken a complete 180 in the right direction. The one thing that has really helped me, probably more than the therapy, is that I've been using a journal to spill my thoughts out. In the last few months I've slowly put together the pieces of how I never noticed they were meeting up. My wife would always be where she said she was. She found time by saying there's a meeting after work, he'll be a little late. Or my yoga class was at 10 a.m. not 9:30, so we'll be home after it's done. She would just manipulate the times. She would go to her classes, or be at work and buy herself a little time for them to have sex. I would never check her location, I never thought I had to. And it wouldn't have mattered if I did, because I would have saw she was where she said she was. Sorry this is so long-winded, it's really the first time I'm writing it all out for someone to read. Since the day I found out about all of this, my wife has been trying so hard to repair our relationship. She has told me answers to anything that I have asked, given me full access to her phone and computer. So anyone who's taken the time to read this, my questions are: does trust ever really come back? How long do the nightmares keep happening? Is it normal to still have days that it feels like you just found out? Is it normal for my insecurities to make me feel like I am holding up our progress as a couple? Am I missing any methods to reduce the anxiety that happens? Additional info I overlooked in my original post. I wanted to add some information that I overlooked in including in the original post. Her AP was the pro in all of this. I did get to speak with the AP's wife, and this was his third time cheating on her. I had met her AP before finding out, and everything about him screams cheating is his thing. He's a smooth talker, attractive and very charismatic. He had even shown up one night when we were out on the town, and I specifically remember commenting that he is a player. Little did I know he had already been hard at work on my wife. In the messaging printouts the AP gave me, there was 2 days in a row that my wife had insisted that their affair was over. She had decided that what they were doing was wrong. No shit. And that was all before the AP's wife confirmed her suspicion that he was cheating on her. The AP's wife had found a note that the AP had typed out in his phone to my wife and sent professing his love for my wife and that he wanted to leave his wife. Some people have suggested getting a DNA test for our daughter. Not necessary, our daughter is the product of IVF. The question of if they still work together, they both work for the same company, but the AP was moved to a different division, so they have no contact, not even in her office. Her boss had him moved because this was his second time getting involved with another employee. The question of she was never going to tell you honestly, I'll never know the true answer to that. I can tell you that I have struggled with depression to the point that I shut down for months on end, and I had been going through a rougher than normal one during the time they were together and even after they stopped seeing each other. She's told me that she was afraid to tell me the truth because of what it might do to me, and I can see some logic in that. Some people have said this isn't her first time. I have asked that question to her over and over, and she swears this was the only time. I've gone through 9 years of backed up phone data. I save everything, and everything I saw doesn't make me think she's lying. Her phone was filled with information between her and her AP. Technology isn't her strong suit. You may ask why I never checked her phone or backups before. The reason is that Eve never had a reason to, and I probably should have. Maybe I could have stopped this before it even started. Quite a few people have said I should leave her. They may be right, but the truth is that I do still love her. And I have always been one to believe there is good in everyone, so I'd especially like to believe there is good in the person I fell in love with regardless of how awful her actions were. I could be wrong. This could all repeat itself again in the future. Thank you for watching.